This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Hello?
You remember the meeting in Maddie's school, right?
Of course, 10 a.m., talk about college options. I got it in the calendar.
We both know your calendar has a way of changing.
Are you okay? Freeze.
How goes the serving and protecting, Joe?
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing things change around here.
Your families have a pretty bad reputation in Blue Ridge.
I lost everything that mattered to me.
We're not married anymore.
I was married to my job.
I hate to break it to you, but your job is still the other woman.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What do we got?
Blunt force trauma to the back of the head.
He was executed. Seems like there's a habit of not talking to law enforcement.
So what's the plan?
I'm gonna knock on the door.
You're gonna knock?
Who is it? This is Gordy Mitchell. We're here to see that Airbnb. Sheriff Department.
I like his style. Bad news travels fast in Blue Ridge.
There's someone else out there.
I need you to tell me what you know.
Freeze!
You're playing a dangerous game of chicken.
This is gonna be fun.
No count on it.
That's so old school.
What about your father doesn't scream old school?
You're an outsider around here.
You have started a war.
My guess is it's going to get ugly.
You need to let me handle this. I'm not interested in justice.
I need you to stay calm.
I am calm.
Welcome all. In this mini-sode, I will be dissecting the rather recent Western action drama Blue Ridge. That's right. It was getting promoted a bunch on Instagram. The main people overseeing it were part of a Magicom Pictures, which produced a lot of stuff for the independent Cowboy Way channel, which is an offshoot of the INSP channel, Inspiration, for those who still have cable. But it was a big marketing campaign. I could tell that they were just showing people how they could access it. Even if you had no longer had cable, you could watch it on Pluto and Plex, a few out of the other channels. Right now, cable TV is still your best bet, unless they release a DVD for the show. But I was in all the way. I was like, okay, I like Jonathan Shinak. He's not or Shock, I think is how I pronounce it. But yeah, he's one of those, ever since that thing you do, he became a go-to kind of character actor, as well as in psychodramas like The Doom Generation, The Forsaken, and just a bunch of other movies where he'd be playing cops, or the Prom Night remake was another one. But yeah, he was just always one of those guys, before he started being in some movies with Frank Grillo and Bruce Willis, he was kind of the go-to for, we need a traitor, we need a handsome drifter. Yeah, he's had a lot of reasonable roles. He's guest starred on shows like The Outer Limits and had recurring roles on Texas Rising and played Jonah Hex on the DC Comics show Legends of Tomorrow. So I am definitely a fan. I do not mind him at all. I've seen him in TV movies like Blood Crime with James Caan. Yeah, he was a go-to. He never got big, but he never stopped being a solid actor. And yeah, it was pretty clear that his heart was in this material, because it's like many of these shows, it's not trying to be a cheap Hallmark show, but it is trying to be something that you could watch with kids while still watch with people who like westerns and cop shows. And it had some reasonable editing, solid music, and a good digital look without looking cheap or by the numbers. And it was filmed in North Carolina, which makes sense because Blue Ridge is to indicate that it is set around just the Appalachian Mountains, and apparently that is supposed to be a fictional small mountain town, but I like it. They just flat out set it up as this guy, he's a former Marine, he's now a sheriff, his name is Justin Wise, so if that doesn't sound manly, then nothing will. It had a reasonable cast. I saw, whoa, hey, Sarah Lancaster from Chuck, the go-to TV actress. Okay, cool. So she's here as the ex-wife who's still on good terms. Hey, Martinez is another TV, legend. I didn't watch many soap operas, but I liked him on Profiler and LA Law, and he has made a huge comeback with both Longmire and Dark Winds as the go-to Navajo Latino actor, and he gets to play a councilman this time. But of course, they fleshed this all out, like out of the bounds, like just from just the start. And they had Tom Proctor, who was a go-to heavy guy who many will probably recognize from Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was just like, okay, cool. So they're getting an unusual cast of people who, are always staying busy. Bruce Boxleitner got to play a rancher for a few episodes. It's like, okay, cool. They're comfortable doing their own thing. I did see the original movie. I had heard of it, aired in 2020, post-COVID. And I saw that one, and it was interesting, but it wasn't quite there yet. But how interesting that they took, an abandoned TV pilot that then became an original TV movie that premiered on the internet and streaming sites. And then they decided, okay, let's build on that.
Heard a lot about you, Sheriff. Travel across the country, take a job in some small town.
Sir. What? We've got a problem, Sheriff. There's no murder weapon.
Who are the suspects?
At this point, the whole town.
3 days, Sheriff. Now it's mountain justice.
Your wife's murdered. You lied to me about where you were.
This town wants answers.
Clean this up.
You're the bravest man I've ever known.
When a man leaves this life, all he has is his legacy.
Would I kill for that land? Absolutely. But did I?
There's innocent people here. There's my family.
If you pull that gun, I'm gonna have to kill you.
They must have just had delays in working out a deal, but I really dug this. It wasn't something schlocky like Walker, Texas Ranger, and it wasn't trying to imitate all the other stuff. It wasn't a cheap, let's do the CSI thing where there's nothing going on, but we'll get sexy people to solve crimes while electronic music, plays. No. It was 6 episodes, and I was like, okay, cool. We're off to a good start. There was a few occasional, not quite there, but it knows exactly what it wants to be. The daughter wasn't annoying, but the family melodrama also was decently worded. not going to win Emmys, but it didn't feel like something like, okay, this is just bottom of the barrel, Lifetime, Hallmark type cheap stuff. And the deputies had a Navajo background, so it was a very diverse cast as well. And again, I liked how Martinez, was getting a lot to do. He's the new councilman, but he has his own agenda, but he's not all bad. So there's some gray area. And again, the sheriff doesn't always have to end the thing. And it, again, for a PG-like show, like this could easily be something for an NCIS type crowd where it's intense, but not to the point of it's gory or, put the kids to bed. So a decent PG-13 show to watch with people who are Western nuts and completists. It appears to be on some Amazon freebie platforms. I did not have any luck finding it on there, so it must be shifting. But yeah, I would like to see this continue. I think this is a decent 3-4 season deal. And again, if you like any of these actors and are tired of just oversaturated mainstream, big budget shit that's just feeling empty, and you want a action mystery show with a Western setting that isn't too intense, yeah, this is the way to go. And I think the reason I like this is it was clean in terms of the pacing and editing and style. And, bad guys show up, and they're often bikers or outlaws, but they don't just do the dreaded just monologue before I'm about to shoot you only to get shot by the hero. And it's also doesn't always have to end every way. And literally someone is getting injured every other episode, including the sheriff. He loses a fight. He's not, again, Mr. Invincible, I'm Lord Jinkies, I'm going to solve the day. So this is clean cut in the filmmaking department, but the story isn't. And I mean that in a good way. Like, there's surprises every moment. It's not hackneyed. It's not too low budget. It's one of those mid-budget shows that has enough going on. And the Western music works for creating the mood instead of feeling like, hey, it just needs to be there just because. And again, I liked how the guy is trying to make the family thing work, but they're not focusing on that every inch. Because they want to avoid melodrama, but they also want to show them something to go to at the end of the day. And again, kudos to everybody. I bought them as deputies because they are pretty clean cut in their appearance and how they come in and approach every scenario. And the mysteries were all involving everything from, who tried to burn down our jail cell, and now while we rebuild our police station, we gotta hang out in the local church, which again, the councilman is overseeing, and some of the other just supporting actors were people I'd recognized. I had seen that they were in other Texas and Louisiana and Georgia productions, so that was cool. But I don't ever feel like, hey, this is just a vanity piece. This is just, shiitake. No, it was pretty solid. Those who are action completists who want something else new, go for it. You really won't feel like it's cheap, steroid-induced cheese. It's really solid, and kudos to anybody who can do their own thing with a mixture of unknowns and semi-knowns. And again, all these actors are at this stage in their career where they're just always going to be giving. They are always going to be needed, and they're always going to give it their all. Instead of, this is my career on the line. And it was a good follow-up from the movie because that movie wasn't quite there yet. It just needed a little more fine-tuning and a little tighter, less cliche writing. And here, this knew exactly what I wanted to be. It was way more comfortable. So, perfect example of a show which they sat on it, and then they reeled it out, and I think everyone's liking the numbers. The right audience who is looking for this seems to be finding it solid instead of cliche or stupid. Now, obviously, it is not a 10 out of 10 star thing, but that goes to be expected. People are always playing games on IMDb. But it's also not a 3 or 4, out of 10 star show either. It's not cheap or soapy or, a vanity piece with nothing to show. It's got some ideas, and I think they're going to continue making good on the Western concept. So again, I wouldn't mind seeing more of this, because I don't mind having multiple programming. The problem is we either have too much, and then we get to the point where there's really not too many options anymore because people keep taking stuff down on streaming and cable. So I would like something like this to be on for a bit, just because it's fun to have just other Western options. And my heart goes out to all those Western fans who do want to find something, but they're tired of rewatching all the same old Westerns all over again. So plenty of cowboy stuff here for a modern day take. Eat it up, guys. Fun stuff.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up